Hi everyone, my name's John Mitchell and welcome to Unit 3 and 4 Business Management. Throughout these videos that we're going to do, we're going to try and cover the course content, so hopefully you understand it and it'll help you prepare for your SACs and the end of year examination. Now, the course is divided up into 5 areas of study, with the first being Business Foundations, which is what we're going to start with today. But just before we begin, I just wanted to wish you all the best of luck throughout the year and also thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. So we're going to get straight into it. Now, the entirety of Unit 3 and 4 is about businesses, so it's important to actually know what a business is. And a business is an organisation that produces goods and services to satisfy the needs and wants of consumers with the aim of making a profit. So that's really important. All businesses are trying to make a profit. What they do with that profit will vary, and you'll notice that as we go through the next few videos. But the key is that they are commercial entities that are aiming to make a profit through the sale of goods and services. Now, there's different sizes of businesses, and it's important to note that these 3, small, medium, and large, these are not part of your study design. But throughout the year, you will likely study different businesses, and you may hear the term small, large, medium type businesses. So it can be a good idea to at least know what we're referring to when those terms come up. Small businesses are usually identified as a business with 20 employees or less. Medium-sized businesses have between 20 and 200 employees, while large businesses typically have more than 200 employees. Now, the first dot point in the study design asks us to look at the different types of businesses. There are 6 that we're going to look at, and what I'm going to do is break these up into 3 separate videos. And today, what we're going to do is look at the sole trader and partnership businesses. So a sole trader is a business that is owned by one person. There is no need for the business name to be registered if the owner is simply going to use their own name for the business name. So for example, a sole trader named Alison Smith doesn't need to register the business name if she is simply going to call the business Alison Smith. However, if the name of the business is going to be different to the owner's name, or something is even added to the owner's name, such as Alison Smith Inventions, then it would need to be registered with the Australian Securities and Investments Commissions, and that's the ASIC, as you can see there. Now, while a sole trader doesn't need to have employees, it is important to note that they actually can have employees if they choose to do so. And if they do decide to have employees, the owner simply needs to take on all the legal responsibilities associated with employees, such as wages, superannuation, and other entitlements. Now, while the business may have a different name to the owner, it's important to note that the business and the owner actually share the same legal entity. Because of this, the owner has what we call unlimited liability. Now, unlimited liability is where the owner is responsible for all business debts if the business is unable to pay its own liabilities. Now, if we look at an example of a sole trader that's running a small greengrocer, now during the setup and the operation of the business, that owner may actually incur some liabilities, meaning things that they need to pay. And it could be that they get a loan from the bank that they need to pay back. It could be that they purchase their supplies on credit, so they actually have an account and they receive their supplies but pay at a later date. Or maybe even someone slips over in the store and decides to sue the business. So if the business is unable to pay off those debts, so it doesn't have enough money to pay off those debts, then it's the owner's responsibility to pay them, even if that means they need to go into their own savings account, personal savings account, or even possibly selling some assets such as the family home to pay those debts off or those liabilities off. And that's what unlimited liability means. Now, I think it's important to look at the advantages and disadvantages of many of these types of businesses, just in case you need to discuss or evaluate or even recommend one and justify yourself in a given scenario. So some of the advantages of being a sole trader is that it's quite simple and very inexpensive to set up. And because there's only one owner, they have complete control over the decisions and the direction of the business, and therefore there's no disputes between other partners or owners. Now, there's minimal government regulations for a sole trader when you set that up, and also the reporting requirements. And because there's only one owner, that owner gets to keep all the profits for themselves. Now, one of the main disadvantages, which we've already spoken about, is the unlimited liability, which means that there's very little personal asset protection for the owner. And it can also be difficult to gain finance, as there's only one owner bringing in their own initial investment, and also can be difficult to gain finance from financial institutions. And there's also a heavy reliance on the one owner. So in terms of the work that they need to do, this can be a real burden for that owner sometimes to manage the entire business, and they may need to perform many different tasks and wear wear many different hats in terms of marketing and operations, hiring and all those kind of things, as well as, you know, the financial reporting, all those types of activities, which can make it difficult for the owner to actually get away from the business for a break. The next type of business that we're going to look at is a partnership, which are businesses that are owned by between 2 and 20 people. Now, there are some instances where there can be more than 20 owners. For example, solicitors, accountants, and those types of businesses, they can have more partners. But typically what we're going to look at is that they have between 2 and 20 owners. Like the sole trader, the business has the same legal entity as the owners, resulting in them having unlimited liability. So these types of partners are known as general partnerships. However, there is another type of partnership known as the limited partnership, and therefore one or more of those partners will actually have limited liability, meaning that their liability is limited to the proportion of the investment that they put into the partnership initially. Now, there can sometimes be conflict between the partners, so can be really helpful to set up a partnership agreement so each partner actually knows what they've signed up for, what their role is within the business, which can help hopefully reduce the amount of disputes over decisions that are made within the partnership. So similar to a sole trader, a partnership is quite simple and inexpensive to set up. However, with a partnership, the workload can be shared among the partners, as well as the risk and the debts that are incurred, because there's not just one owner, there's multiple owners, and they can share that sort of risk and workload amongst themselves. It can also be easy to take time off, as the partners can, you know, share the workload and pick up the slack when someone decides to take a holiday, and the partners can also share their skills and experience. So that with a partnership, they can bring in different skills and experience to help benefit the business. But again, one of the major drawbacks is that there is unlimited liability, and there's potential now for there to be disagreements about decisions between the partners, because it's not just one owner making the decisions now. They have to agree on the direction of the business and the strategies that they're going to implement to achieve what they want to achieve. Also, liability for debts incurred by other partners is taken on by all the other partners within the business. And also, they need to share the profits amongst partners. No longer is it just one person taking the profits for themselves. They need to share amongst the partners. So that's it for the first video. Again, welcome to Unit 3 and 4 Business Management. Just remember, for the questions to this video and to find out about our Unit 3 Flying Start lectures to try and get yourself off to a really good start in Unit 3 and 4, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.